So this has to be one of the most hotly anticipated bikes for 2019, BMW S1000rr. And do you know what? This bike is one of the most popular with KNOX customers. I mean, you know, the amount of tags that we get on our Instagram page with people wearing KNOX Handroids riding this motorcycle or previous generations of, it's phenomenal. And it's widely considered as probably the king of the track, or certainly you know, it's up there with the top. And you know, certainly when the first generation come out, it really changed the rule books, didn't it?
I mean, it's difficult to believe, isn't it? This bike, the original RR, is 8-9 years old now. So when it kind of hit the roads in 2010, it just kind of blew the competition away. You know, kind of just changed the landscape for sport bikes completely. You know, they were able to produce a bike that not only had a massive amount of performance, and you could take it to a track and thrash it and have a great day out, but it had incredibly good road manners.
Of course.
You know, they kind of made that sort of combination of a usable super bike, better than anybody else. You know, so this has got a lot to live up to. And of course, in the meantime, Yamaha, Ducati, Kawasaki, Suzuki have all had to massively up their game to kind of keep pace and even perhaps in some cases overtake the existing S1000rr. But of course, this I'm expecting is going to be another game changer.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that the original was quite, you know, one of the rules that it changed, I suppose, was on the electronics game.
100%.
And that's upped the game massively to this latest generation.
I mean, there's a seismic shift in the amount of electronic aids on these bikes now. Again, you know, I think honestly, you know, when Ducati launched their new V4 last year, again, they sort of just pushed the game forward massively, and that had a massive part to do with how many electronic features the bike had, gyroscopic sensors and IMU. And not only that, I think one of the things that sort of serious track day junkies had stated was that they wanted the bike to be more sort of tailored to their own needs.
Sure.
So it's not a question of whether or not you just turn the traction control off or you can adjust the ABS. There is a raft of
well, it's
options.
the degree to which you want all of those things, right?
You know, tiny incremental adjustments on all those different sensors and different aids on the bike. And of course, we were lucky enough to get one of the guys from BMW up here, I think yesterday or the day before. He sort of gave us a bit of a rough guide of how it all operates. And of course, it's actually very easy to use as well.
Really easy. All you do is literally just push that thumb dial, you know, to alternate between your menu options, and then twizzle it. It's quite similar to the BMW iDrive system you'd see in the car, really, isn't it?
It is. And
obviously, they're lifting some of that from that whole car technology and putting it into the motorbike.
There are some other similarities, but basically what BMW have done with this new RR is they've launched a standard bike, this one next to us in the red,
yes,
which is I think about 16.5, 16.7. And then they've gone with the M Sport now. M Sport.
That's really competitive for a super bike, actually. It's a very similar price to the R1, in fact.
Yes, and you know, I mean, we're obviously, hopefully, with enough time and opportunity, we're going to go and have a look at what Ducati are doing, their new V4Rs on the stand, and you know, price-wise, it's pretty eye-watering, isn't it? Let's be honest. You know, value for money. As it stands, I mean, this is subject to people being able to ride the bike and test it. I mean, that does look on the face of it to be a lot of bike.
Yeah.
The other similarity that you just touched upon with the kind of, you know, the overlap with the cars and the bikes for BMW is that this is now going to be badged as an M Sport, Aaron. And
yes,
you know, that's a theme that has been going with the cars for ever and a day, basically.
Yeah.
So M Sport effectively just takes that spec a step further. So new paint scheme, new seat, like a grippier, stiffer seat, carbon wheels. So you know, it's all about kind of making the bike even more performance focused. Lighter wheels, and then of course it's got this full suite of electronics. This has also got an option where you can attach some sort of GPS sensor. So whereas with the standard bike, your lap timer is operated by your high beam. That starts and stops your lap timer. You can attach to this either on the side or I think in the seat cowl a GPS function which will actually time for you. Now there's some consternation around that. With, you know, not really meant to be doing that on track days, but it is an option that's available for this one. I don't know whether it's available for the standard bike. We'd have to double check that.
Yeah. Okay.
But it would be remiss. You know, this is a brand new bike.
Yes.
You know, I think
from start to finish.
Absolute new chassis, new engine.
They've saved how much weight?
So 10 kilos.
10 kilos.
Wet, and then of course they've increased the power to 207, which is 10 horsepower up as well. It's also the shift cam technology, so again that's kind of transferred across some GS and the new RS and the R. So you should have this kind of more flat torque curve, more linear power delivery. I think what a lot of the manufacturers are doing, and we touched on this the other day when we were talking about KTM. They've listened to their customer base. Customer base said, you know what, it's a bit too choppy on the road. It's not adjustable enough, and the power delivery wants to be a bit, just that torque curve, that delivery wants to be smoother. And of course that helps in terms of being able to modulate your throttle when you're really at it. And that's what they've done. They've addressed that too, so you get a much flatter torque curve. This power all the way across the rev range.
Sure, but that's also controllable with the new electronics. So you can literally,
absolutely.
You can really hone the power delivery. You can really hone the traction control.
Yeah.
You can really hone the ABS. Obviously, you can't turn it off entirely because nowadays we have to have it on all new bikes. That's what the guy was saying yesterday. You can't turn it off entirely.
Absolutely.
You can turn it down to the minimum for track use. But
it can make you look like a massive hero.
Oh,
so even you and I, Aaron, maybe more so me because I am hopeless, could ride this reasonably fast and not come a cropper. So you've got lean angle sensor. You've got, I think, is it 14 different settings on the traction control, wheelie control.
It's bonkers.
You can tailor
heated
this
grips,
bike.
Right? Do you get heated
and
grips
I mean, look,
this?
this is a typical kind of BMW trait, and you're preaching to the converted here, aren't you? Because you know what I'm like with BMWs, and I don't want to appear unbiased, but having traction control and cruise control, heated seats and heated grips and cruise control on a bike is something that I just kind of, it's almost like a given for me, riding BMWs. But
a bit swish.
It's a hugely important bike. This is, and I've got to say, traditionally I'm not a sport bike fan, but this is a very, very exciting motorcycle.
Quick commentary, Mark, on the aesthetic. What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of talk about this, isn't it? Of course, one of the things that was a bit sort of opinion dividing at the time when they launched the original S1000rr was this asymmetric headlight. It's kind of weird, goggly eyes, if you like. And now, of course, it's fully symmetrical. I've got to say, in the flesh, it is a really nice looking bit of kit. And I like the colourways. I mean, I'm sure, given enough time,
do you know what?
They'll introduce new colours on the bike as it kind of comes into the range over the next year or two.
It's got an absolute coffin of a cat on the bottom of it. I wish they'd have hid that a little bit better.
Well, I mean,
I must be honest.
This is the interesting.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But for me, I love every other part of it really. And actually, the end can is quite okay as well.
Well, for a fact that almost every person who buys one of these is going to put some kind of system on it. And of course, the other advantage of changing the exhaust system, whether it's a full or you're going to make a bigger weight saving.
Yeah.
So you can do 5+ kilos by just taking the exhaust system off and putting a more performance orientated system on there. So you're talking about something with a really, really sensible curb weight, and another bike that makes well north of 200 horsepower. And in fact, I was looking at one of the reviews, and the guy who's involved in the development said if it says it's 207 horsepower, it's BMW, it will be 207 horsepower. And of course, that is important. In a kind of top trump scheme of things, this bike is it's squarely focused at Ducati's V4. The other thing they've done also is they've tried to trim the breadth, the width of the chassis. So they've wrapped it right around the engine so that when you're on it, it feels a lot narrower.
Yeah.
So you can really grip it. And he was talking about how under hard braking, it allows you to brace better on the bike. So you just feel like you've got more control over the thing when you're at it.
Obviously, a massively important part of these bikes, not how well it goes, how well it bloody stops as well. And the whole new braking system as well on this S1000rr. So they've moved from Brembo's into their brand new calipers and braking system that they developed themselves. And they actually saying that this is an improvement from the previous system. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I rode the S1000rr, and I have to say that's got the Brembo's on it. But they were the best brakes I've ever had on a motorcycle. I was like, I pressed them, I was like, bloody hell, I nearly did a stoppie, it was unbelievable. Yeah. So if these are an improvement on that, hey, I don't think they're going to left their customers short, right? No,
and I think, some people are going to be quite surprised by that. I mean, Brembo is the company that most of the performance bikes most of the performance bike companies put on their motorcycles. Having said that, again, from what I've read and the research and what I've seen, they're saying that this is an improvement. And I think it's kind of small tweaks.
Yes.
It's not just about how much retardation that brake can offer you, but it's about how it feels on the lever.
Sure.
So it's more linear. Again, you can modulate it in a better way when that initial bite is kind of more graduated. So it just gives you a bit more feel, a bit more control. Essentially, that's effectively what they're saying that they've managed to achieve with this new system. I mean, the first test that people are going to be looking at are this versus the V4. It's going to be a really interesting landscape, isn't it? And again, it means that the other manufacturers are going to have to raise their game even more because, let's be frank, this is going to be one hell of a bike on the road. And that's the other trick, isn't it? Getting that balance right between having something that's an amazing track weapon and having a bike that's going to be phenomenal on the road as well. You'd have to wait and see.